Hello, my outstanding pre-calculus class. We are ready for another online adventure. Today, we will solve trigonometric equations involving multiple angles, and this is in our Chapter 7, Section 5. So let's get right into solving one of these problems. Solve the equation with a multiple angle. Sine of 2x, it's multiple, 2 times x, a multiple of 2 there. It's equal to square root of 3 over 2. On the interval where x is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 2 pi. So remember, whenever we're looking for an angle, we use our inverse trig functions. So 2x is equal to inverse sine of square root of 3 over 2. And there are several things we have to remember about this. The period of a sine function is 2 pi. In the interval from 0 to 2 pi, there are two values at which the sine function is positive, square root of 3 over 2. And it's going to be in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2. So let's look at our unit circle. We're looking for a sine, which is a y value. That's a square root of 3 over 2. So you see right here, square root of 3 over 2, we have a pi over 3. So I'm going to show you where we're getting the pi over 3 in just a minute. Then let's go to quadrant 2, where we've got a sine. You see that's a pi over 3, which is what, 2 pi over 3. So we have pi over 3 and 2 pi over 3. Then we're going to have two equations. First of all, we're going to find all the solutions. So it's going to be 2x is equal to pi over 3 plus 2 times k times pi. Remember, k is what, an integer. No fractions, no decimals. Positive and negative whole numbers are 0 for our integers. Or it's going to be 2x is equal to 2 pi over 3 plus 2k times pi. We want to solve for x. We're going to divide all three terms by 2. Dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal, 1/2. So half of 2x will give us this x. 1/2 times pi over 3 gives us pi over 6. A half of 2 is 1, so 1 times k pi is k pi. So this is one of the equations that we're going to use. Now the second equation, remember it's 2x is equal to 2/3 pi plus 2k pi. We're going to divide all three terms by 2. It's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal, 1/2. 1/2 times 2x gives us x. 1/2 times 2 pi over 3. The 2's cancel out, so we get pi over 3. A half of 2 is 1, and 1 times k pi is k pi. And we're going to substitute for k into these two equations. We're going to use, first of all, the first equation here. So we have here x is equal to pi over 6 plus k pi. We're going to let k equal 0. Remember, the interval is between 0 and 2 pi. That's why we're not using any negative k's. Okay, so when we substitute 0 for k, we get pi over 6 plus 0, which is pi over 6 for x. That's one value. Then we're going to let k be equal to 1. So x equals pi over 6 plus, you see, 1 times the pi, which is pi. But pi is the same thing as 6 pi over 6. Remember, we can only add and subtract fractions when we have what, like denominators. So it's 1 pi plus 6 pi gives us 7 pi over 6. So here's a second example, a second rather solution. So we have k be 1, let k equals 0, k equals 1. So this time we're going to let k equals 2. Well, when I let k equal 2, it's going to be 2 times pi. But we have 2 times pi plus something, which is greater than 2 pi, which is not in the interval from 0 to 2 pi. So the only k's that we will use will be k equals 0 and k equals 1 to get these two solutions. But remember, we had a second equation that we also had to solve. So here is the second equation. And we're going to let k equal 0 again. So x will be equal to pi over 3. That's one answer. It's another solution. Here we're going to let k equal 1. So we have 1 times the pi, which is the pi. But pi is 3 pi over 3, like denominator, so we can add them. 1 pi over 3 plus 3 pi over 3 gives us 4 pi over 3. So here is another solution. So we've got k equals 0, k equals 1. So now let's let k equal 2. We're going to let k equal 2. We're going to have 2 times pi plus something, which is greater than 2 pi. And remember, we're only looking in the interval between 0 and 2 pi, so we cannot use the k that's 2. So we can only use the k that is 0 and 1. So when we get through, the solutions to the equation sine of 2x is equal to square root of 3 over 2, there are going to be 4 solutions. Pi over 6, pi over 3, 7 pi over 6, 4 pi over 3. So as you are reviewing this video, always remember to stop, rewind, review. Stop, rewind, review at any place until you understand everything that is being said. And my love goes out to you.